All right, Happy New Year. Happy 2023. Whoo! Today we're going to do a frozen rib roast. So what happened is before we went on vacation, there was a great deal on a rib roast. So I had to freeze it and cook it when I got back home. So basically the way I freeze meat is to use a freezer bag Ziploc. But then on top of that, air is the enemy of freezing. So I wrap it with foil, but on top of that, I also wrapped it in saran wrap or cling film to minimize the air in the meat. So it reduces freezer burn. So this has been in the freezer for about 2.5, almost 3 weeks. And it's still actually frozen solid. It's been out of the freezer for about 15 hours. I didn't want to wait longer. In fact, some recipes, when you cook meat, they do the low and slow. So what I'm going to do is just try to brown this and cook it low. My typical method is brown at 500. And cook it low at 300, but right now it's still frozen solid. So I'll let this cook for about an hour, and then I'll insert a thermometer into the center and bring the temperature up slowly to about 140, 145. So right now, just unveiling the frozen roast. Still looks pretty good. No freezer burn. A little bit of ice. So on to cooking. Happy New Year. Alright, as par for the course, what I usually do is, this is kosher salt. I generally season all sides of a steak or a beef ribeye, or in this case the roast, with salt. It's still, as you can tell, it's still pretty frozen. And I'll probably just leave it out for another half hour just to let the salt do this work. An alternative is to just salt and leave it in the refrigerator another day or two, so this defrosts even more. But I just want to see how long it takes to cook a frozen rib roast. So salt. Then I'll add some pepper on the outside. And I'll turn on the oven and start cooking. So pepper generously. And as always, just pat the seasoning into the meat so it kind of stays in there. Salted, peppered, let it rest. Alright, it's in about 10 minutes. I'm just put the roast in a foil-lined baking dish. I like using foil because it's easy to clean. You don't have to scrub. Once everything's done, you just pull out the foil and toss. And if the foil leaks, you'll just get fat on the baking dish. Oven is set at 500 at preheating. And I'm using Nana's rib roast method. Basically, I'll add about half a cup of water to the baking dish and let the oven come to the temperature, 500 degrees, before I start kicking off this frozen rib roast. We'll see how long it takes. Alright, the oven's come up to temperature, 500 degrees F. I'm going to put the roast in, cook it for 15 minutes at 500 degrees. Alright, it's been 15 minutes at 500 degrees. Let me take a quick look at the roast. Has some color on top. It's still frozen in the center, about 3/4 or ½ inches defrosted. So I'm gonna just wait probably another hour, maybe half hour, and insert the thermometer, but I'll let this cook slowly. Give the roast a turn and reduce temperature to 350. Alright, here's the roast that's been in the oven for 30 minutes at 350. I'm going to see if I could get the thermometer in. I want it about right there, right in the middle of the meat. So I'll look for the center, right in the middle of the roast, and push it through. And I could still tell it's kind of frozen, but where kept my thumb is, it's about right there. So it's still reading in the center right now. It's reading, I don't know if you can see that. It says it's 28 degrees, so it's below freezing. It's still frozen, so we'll see how long it takes to cook. And I want to add a few potatoes to roast, but it might cook so long, but I'll see how that turns out too. And what I'll try to do is get some of the beef drippings to coat the potatoes to add extra flavor. So let me try to jiggle this around. I don't know where I put the other mat, or so there's definitely some beef fat going on here. I slightly salted the potatoes just to add some flavor to it. Oop, the glass is hot, or the baking dish is hot. So just rotate it around a little bit. So we'll see what happens. Into the oven it goes, and I'll try to shoot for it's 28 degrees Fahrenheit, and I want to get it to another 120 degrees hotter, so 145, 148. We'll see how long that takes. All right, a side comment about the probe. I should have put it in this way. Since I put it up through the top and it sticks out, I had to lower the rack. So that's kind of a hassle. So next time I'll shoot for the side, and that way it doesn't stand out as high. So lesson learned. All right, it took about 3 hours and 50 minutes for the roast to reach 145. I've taken it out, and now it's coasting. It's going to probably go up another 5-10 degrees. But, so pretty much I think what happens when you freeze the roast and you're cooking from frozen, you add roughly hour and a half. I'll have to do the math, but usually it takes about 2 hours to get to 140. But now that it's frozen, it took almost 2 hours more. So cooking a frozen roast, add 2 hours. All right, it's been about 10-15 minutes. Temperature right now is 153, so it's gone up roughly 8 degrees. I'm going to just start cutting this up. Turn this off. So on this roast, it's I'll have to cut the bone off myself. Sometimes you'll get a roast where the butcher will cut the bone off and then tie it back, but this one was not. So I just follow the bone. It's pretty easy, and it will tell you where to come off. Then I'll cut this in half just so people have a nice little bone to chew on. It's hot for sure, so I'll try to give it a few slices. And we generally like to slice thin. Here's how it looks. It's looks like it's on the medium well side. It's slightly, very slightly pink, but it's mostly cooked. And you could see the juices running out. I might have to put a towel down, but I'll go ahead and start cutting. And maybe I'll just use an electric knife to make it easier. Let me pull out the electric knife. I guess I should turn on the power. Alright, here's the cut up rib roast. Kind of piled it on, cut it thin. One thing I did do is I peeled off some of the fat and then I separated the cap from the eye portion of the steak. And also there's a lot of intermuscular fat, so I just trimmed that off. That's optional. And here's a couple bigger pieces that I could not cut down, so I'll probably eat that. Alright, here's my finished plate. I have some rib roasts that I cut up. Roasted a potato in the roasting pan so it gets crispy with the beef fat. And also, since it is New Year's, we want to start off New Year's with some lucky food, some black-eyed peas. So, everybody, hope you all have a happy 2023. Enjoy and wish you the best of luck.